one thing that we need to do, right? So this more or less something like that should be it doesn't work for you right now because once you upload it, of course in configuration, you need to go to permissions. You need to make sure that you give the role that where you have all the permission, right? And you should add to that role what I put here, okay? I added this permission. We will make it better later, but just for now, this permission basically saying and allow the action describe DB instances. This is important to actually find the instance. And then this is the most important, RDBS DB connect on all resources in your account. That's not good, we will do it later better, but that doesn't satisfy the principle of least privilege, but just so that we got things working, just put it like that. And with all that, the test should work. This Lambda does not take any argument, so with the basic test, you don't need to create a specific JSON for the test. Then it should work. Try, and if not, let me know. And in the meantime, what is the problem? But this is for the Lambda. So, but why you go so fast?
No,
Of what? What is that?
Okay.
What is that? No, we are not doing yet. But if it's zero, if that it gives you that, it may be for many reasons. Go to the CloudWatch. Go to the CloudWatch. Maybe you have an error there. I think you have an error there. Maybe you have an error of security. Look at the CloudWatch.
Cái đó là cái hiện tại của mình.
Look at the CloudWatch for that Lambda. Tell me what happens there.
I forgot to
Can I? So yeah, look. That's the one. So these are the different lambdas. You go there. And then here is normally the last one. Okay. And it's actually Cloud 87, you change that. So you don't have, you have. So basically you don't have access. So why you don't have access? Have you added the permission? On the IAM. Working? You got it? code correction. And that error is. Remember to modify. Remember, you copy the code correctly. For example, if you copy the code, this code, okay, and you don't modify this,
Sợ nó hai khác nhau nữa.
Đi cái thêm hai cái.
okay, you don't modify this. I said that's your database. You have to modify it. The rest, it should work. Cannot take it. And then, because it was flagging.
Qua đây. Khi là gì? Lên Sài Gòn.
Cái test càng gì xài.
So then go to product. So some of you are getting this. I mean, you are getting the base 64 encoding of that. Wait. Listen. Okay? But if you have something in the database, there is something wrong. Okay? The way I wrote the code is that it will return the empty JSON array if there is an exception. So look at the CloudWatch, because if you are getting empty but your database is not empty, means that the CloudWatch is going to have the exception. Is it working now? Yeah, wait. So you are working, anybody else is working? You got what you want, right? Yes? Okay. And so in your case, what you are getting?
I successfully saw the description, but I have an error in this.
No. Yeah. There is an error So there are two things. So you are getting the right thing, I think. Yes. Okay. This error SLF4J failed to load class blah blah blah. Forget about that. That has to do with the logger. It's not an error. Okay. You are getting something? Huh? Class not fun. Have you changed the handler?
Cái đó là lock của chị
Change the
đấy.
handler.
Clone của chị đấy.
You have to put because that's the. It's working. 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 Okay. So try now that it's working. And we do this. If it works, then I ask you for an activity to complete before the end of the class. But let me just finish this. So try this.
Khai.
Cái bộ là iPhone. iPhone hay gì vậy? Chưa đổi.
Chưa đổi.
Điện thoại mới.
Điện thoại có mới thôi. Thì xài chắc 69%.
Cái lúc mà đi Paris cầm đó là nhớ có cái tình nữa mà giờ không thấy, chắc như là
Cái này là kiểu mua từ lúc mới ra luôn.
mình thấy cái hàng này nó mạnh hơn cái con kia.
Đúng rồi, luôn bắt luôn. Giờ đi thấy pin. Còn hỏi thầy luôn. Không để dòng tiền mua cái khác. Hỏi con sữa để đây kiếm hỏi sữa mà.
Không thì một câu nào
Okay. Okay. So this is a better policy. Okay. You are a pro, so then you should do things according to the right security principle, in particular the least privilege principle. So it's like before, except that now, so you take the other one and remove the, remove this. Remove this guy. Remove that guy, that action. So because that action, which is the action that allows to connect, we are gonna do it with this. So basically here I'm saying, I allow to connect to this role. And then here, you replace this by the name of your database. Sorry, yes, your RDS. This your region. This your account. This you keep it like that. This is a specific name that is given that I will tell you where to find. And this is your user, your SQL user. So that means that user is allowed, a connection for that SQL user is allowed on my account, on this region, on that database, on this specific database. it's explained here. Well, it's more or less explained here. Now, the question is, how do you get these numbers? Okay? Sorry. Yeah. So this, no, you don't have to change this. So this is the same. Now, how do you get this number? So this number is, you go to your database, which is here, and then in configuration, here, the resource ID. In your case, it's going to be different. So again, this policy means all this is common. The first part is common. Then this is your region, whatever it is, in my case, Southeast 1. This is your account. You find your account anywhere, but here, that's your account, the account ID. Then this is fixed. Then no, this part is not fixed. That's your resource identification of your database, and that's the SQL user that you want to connect, with which you want to connect. So you modify the policy, it's work. And now that is a policy that certainly satisfies the least privilege principle. You are giving just permission, not for that Lambda, you are giving permission not for any database, only for that database with that user.
Trong cái configuration trong database. Cái số này
Working? Yes? Yes? Okay. So now, I'm done. So now it's your time to work. These now are gonna, now you need to think. So don't try to ask ChatGPT, okay? Because this is architecture. You need to think. What do we want? Now we have a usual problem where we have information in two places. We have information in our database. In this case, it's on a RDS MySQL, and we have information on our storage, which is S3. Right? So now you have to modify your web application so that, remember that we have this upload button to select an image. Now you need to add a field description. So the idea, how do you do it? There are 200 ways. You think what is the best way from the point of view of the architecture. When you click in upload, what's going to happen is that here is going to be an insert for which you need the key and you need the description. And here there's going to be an upload of the image with that key. This you have it already, that's what was working. But now you need to do this. Why? Because when you generate this, now the table is going to contain, yes, the images, yes, the key, but also the description. Okay? Typical application. Go ahead. You just need to think about it, modify a number of things, front end, back end. Of course, you will need to create a new lambda for insert, which is going to be the same lambda that we had, but instead of having the select, it's going to have an insert. And that lambda is going to take a JSON because you need something. And then how, where you call the different lambdas. That's, think about it. Okay. Go ahead. Anyway, it's not working. I help in the meantime. Not working. Huh? I put it. So before write code, think.
Là có nghĩa là yêu đọc lót.
Mà sẽ chạy cái dòng insert đó.
Thì mình sẽ chạy ra qua đó là mình
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, but that's the one.
Chẳng lẽ cái description nó sẽ là một cái mình comment để mình vô mình hiểu không?
Some of you are getting a timeout. Okay, some of you said, if I do it again, it works. I think, I think the lambda, so essentially when the lambda has not been executed ever, it takes time to warm up. That's normally 10 seconds. addition to that, the lambda needs to go to RDS and negotiate with RDS. Now that may take 4 seconds. Since the limit is 15 seconds, you may get, for the first time, you may get the error somewhere in time up. Just move it to 30 seconds. Now, if you got the error in 30 seconds, there is a different problem.
Vậy là mình phải là mình sẽ tạo DP statement.
Là gì?
Xem
Thế là làm sao để chạy cái dòng này nè? Mình tạo cái function để chạy dòng này.
file rồi.
And if we don't copy and paste in the start, admin, we have not given permission to admin. Admin needs password, yes or no? Admin needs password, yes or no? But the lambda is not calling with password, it's passing a token. So for sure it's not. Yeah.
Thì em nghĩ á, thì em nghĩ
Có bút không?
có bút luôn, có bút luôn. Đây thì nó sẽ upload vô cái S3, design S3. Mình lấy cái góc luôn hả? Đây mình lấy cái góc luôn, upload vô S3, xong lấy cái key của S3 đó, put vô cái thing. Cái description là nó tự động hay là mình phải điền cái đó? Description phải điền đúng không? Lấy cái key đó bỏ luôn cái key cộng với description. lấy cái mình lấy cái key, mình lấy cái key cái description xong mình bỏ vô cái
Okay, you may wait. Another thing is forget about this. So actually you can tell your guy
update cái bản thế là xong.
yeah, because it is your whatever
cái mình lấy
requiring to fix that problem.
cái mình lấy
So either you modify, so if your ID is not allowed, it's because you have the people right? Either you reduce that or change the dependency. Okay? But if you change the dependency, maybe you need to change the class. The implementation. But I think it's gonna be simpler to lower the requirement. Yeah.
Mình sẽ tách tiếp.
ông màng
So go to the lambda.
nó ẩn bên cái này thì nó mới có tiền để nó lấy tiền.
Đúng rồi. Nhưng mà tới rồi lại cái việc bắt em là
Remember you are using the role given by AWS, not your dependency. So you have to modify that.
ví dụ mỗi người SQL thì biết về description.
I'm gonna see if I can check it. If I can find the dependency myself.
Hiểu rồi. Viết plot lên, đúng hạn rồi. Upload lên thì nó sẽ khi nào mình upload thì mình upload nếu mà upload quá thì cái phone nó sẽ upload. Ở đây mình sẽ điền cái next của nó. Next. Và upload. Nó sẽ gặp những cái bản. Đây vừa update các bạn. Cái test cho
cái kỳ
đúng rồi, cái kỳ thành từ next test với sợ nó không đủ. Dẫn
ông kia mình xin lỗi xin lỗi không giải
cái Thinking cho đó
Thinking có dễ hiểu không?
để làm đề
tiếng lớn rồi biết là ChatGPT là để
không cần phải luôn không cái này cái này ghép nhưng mà nếu như nó mà là cái gì S3
There was an issue with the dependency for the MySQL, So I updated the home to the 9.0, just updated the version. You don't want to it. In case you have a problem.
Ủa sao tự nhiên nó bị này ta?
Để
cái chuyên môn
rồi
Nãy nó kết nối được không?
đó kết nối được rồi mà.
Nhưng mà nó bị đơ, mình kết nối lại.
Giờ chị chị xem lại cái data file rồi. Rồi chị bấm file SQL hết rồi. Bấm file SQL hết. SQL rồi cách này trừ hết rồi hảo cẩn thận giỏi má bấm cái enable đấy, copy lại cái enable. Tiếp trừ UID
cái khơi tiền cũng muốn phải cái bếp tiền cũ
rồi bấm chữ B enter, bấm enter password lại dữ vậy chịu. Để cho nó xóa thử cái này đi. Ủa mình sẽ cài Ubuntu hả?
Thì ta
Đâu, bỏ này. Chỉ copy lại cái từ cái Ubuntu á. Mà sao chị xài Ubuntu gì? Trời ơi, không có copy được thì chị bật copy bằng lệnh chuột á. Copy bằng sao copy ta? À. À, này không có MySQL. À là chị nãy giờ chị
Work. I mean, please work. You need to please work.
chỗ này ta
Please work. Work. Individually work. Think. Okay? Think. boiled. It's boiled some. Because the error is out, yes, it's connected to the data.
mình được.
Xem thử cái này có gì cái gì có giống không?
This should show how much. No, I don't know what you are explaining. Any question? Yeah.
I don't know why I accept is denied, but before I already accept successfully.
Have you entered the correct password?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Repeat. Repeat. That's for sure. No. Because you got already this one. You got right now, you got one. That. So I would be you. So what do we have? So let's say, how do I get this one? So we have two lambda, right? We have lambda, we have three lambda that we can use that we can use in different ways. We have lambda, get, object, or get list of objects. So that one takes no arguments, or maybe takes the bucket, and then basically return a JSON array with can I continue? Because I'm trying to help someone who has asked, and it's valid for everybody. So basically, with this one, you get the list. You get a list with basically all the key, right, in your bucket, right? And I believe you use this one to basically you use this one to create the old image key and then the bottom. Now, basically you first created, basically you say this, and then when building the table, you call lambda get object with each of the keys, right? That's what you have right now. But the problem is that you don't have the description. Okay? Now there are two things that you can do. First, you need to decide what is the important source of the information. Is it the S3 or is the database?
Like the description is from the database.
The description from the database, right? So the database, so you could use S3 as the kind of the root source of the information, or you can use the database, because the database contains the key. So, you could follow the same thing and say, okay, to build this, as you suggested, I'm gonna do this, then the same way that I got the image by calling the key, I could have lambda get description passing the key. And then because I know that the key is also unique in the database, right? So I build this guy by calling this lambda. And this lambda basically do select description from photos where key, S3 key equal to whatever you pass in. So that's one way. Another way will be take the database as the root source. Then it's different because now you so now different. So you first call lambda get photos db. That one gives you the key and the description, right? So you can obviously build the table. Just again calling lambda get object, lambda get object for each of the key. So the same thing, but instead of starting here and then having to call this and this, you start from the JSON array returned by the lambda get objects get photos db, and then you just go to S3 for what is important of S3. What is important of S3 is the image. That's it.
From a design point of view, which approach is better?
You think about it. When we think about design, right? The question of what design is better, what architecture is better, right? It's not a unique answer. So you sort of evaluate. For example, you can evaluate the changes that are needed if something happened. For example, suppose that the boss tells you, hey, in addition to the description, I need the date. Every photo is gonna have also a date, the date that it was taken. Not the date that it was uploaded into S3, the date the photo was taken. Seems like a reasonable extension, right? Right. With option A, right? You will have to create another lambda get date. With option B, you don't.
So just create an extra
So moreover, normally the source of the information is in the database, not in the storage. The database is what contains everything, and then you look for things if needed in other sources.
So now, we need to modify the lambda delete object. So when an object is deleted, its row should be
No,
deleted.
that's for sure. So now, of course, and that's what I was saying here. And that's what makes this exercise interesting. That's why I say you have to think. Because now, but also in this case, okay? Also in the other case. Now you have two things that need to be synchronized. So when you delete an object, well, it depends. Because delete an image is different from delete an object. So if by delete you mean delete the image, that doesn't mean delete the photo. Again, what is the requirement? You know, delete means delete everything, or means delete the photo because I'm going to upload a new photo.
And one more question. So like when a user upload a photo, how would we get the description? Like we create a pop-up?
No, you create like what I said. You create this a text field that takes a string, or a text area, whatever you want, a string. And then when you click here, you check that this is not empty. And then you have to do two things. You have to, in this case for sure, you have to create in the database, and that's the reason that you need another lambda. Yes, you need another lambda because it's gonna be different. This lambda is gonna be lambda insert photo with description, and that is gonna have the same code, but it's gonna have insert into photos, and then you have to pass the key, and you have to pass the. Now, what is gonna be the key? You have two options. You use the same name of the file, which is what we are using so far, or you can actually take the name of the file, create a key, and then use that key from now on. Up to you. And then description, and then you pass whatever two things you got from the JSON of the input. That you need it. Now, what do you do first? You insert the thing in the table, or you insert the image in the S3? Up to you. Okay? Things are not so simple because what happens if you insert the image in the table, insert the key in the table, but the insertion of the image in the S3 failed. Is that an inconsistency? In my opinion, no. Because in my opinion, and that has to do with the delete also, what matters is the database. The fact that the image has been lost in the S3, well, it could also always reload it.
So we insert to the database first.
I will insert in the database first. And then I will assume that the S3, that the insertion in the S3 is successful. You can do it better. You can say, okay, I'm gonna do this, but I'm not going to, the insertion in the database is gonna be conditional to the insertion in the S3 be successful. And I have some kind of a way to delete back the row that I have inserted in case the S3 has thrown an error. But keep it simple for now. For now, what matters is the table. Then, whether the S3 has been successful or not, so we assume that a row may not, the key of the row may not correspond to a true key in the S3 for whatever reason. Just to keep it simple. Okay?
Sorry, so
Yeah,
you said
go
that
ahead.
the key in the database may not be the same as the key for the same image?
May not exist.
May not exist, but they must be the same.
But you assume that it's the same. So if it exists, it's that. Otherwise, it will be crazy. You will have you will need another table to keep the mapping.
Yes.
Now, what I was saying is that right now, the key that you are using is the name of the file, right? Now, that may not be a great idea. So you can, for example, do the following. Take the key of the file, take the name of the file, use a hash function, code it into something of the same size. Then use it as the key, because now you have a description, right? So now the name of the file is not so important to understand what the picture is, because now you have a description. So you can forget about the name of the file, which is going to cause trouble anyway. So take the name of the file, hash it. Use it as a key. Put it in your database. Put that image with that key in the S3. That's it.
Like, why do we need to hash the file name? Like, is the key of an image like so important from a security point of view?
No, but the name of the file could be, for example, longer. Remember, the key is stored in the database, right? In the database, you have bar 20, we decided bar 25. That more or less amount to 25 characters. Suppose that the name of the file, which you have no control, because the user who is passing you, is 1,000 characters. It crashes. So anything that does not depend on you, you want to control it. Okay. Now you are right that what does it mean delete now? So download means if the image exists, download the image. But what does it mean delete? Delete means to delete the image or to delete the whole thing. So let's say that delete means delete the whole thing, database and image, if it exists. Otherwise it would be edit, not delete. Yes? That's the reason it's important. First thing, second, code. The code is always the easy part. Question? So with this design, all you have to do is modify code, but from the point of view of what we have right now, you just need, for sure, a lambda to insert a new row in photos. Okay, and that's gonna lambda that is gonna take, it's gonna take a file name, because and that one is here. So that's the lambda that is called by this, and a description. I suggested that lambda, this file name, which I have no control, I hash it. Where do you hash it? You can hash it in the client. You can hash it in the lambda. If you hash it in the lambda, then keep in mind that that should be the same one, the same hash function that you use when the lambda upload object. Please remember, this lambda upload object takes a key. Now that key must be the hash. Otherwise you have to. The hash always is the same one. So that's not, you use the same hash function for the same input, will always generate the same output. And so you need this, and you have to modify the lambda delete, because now the lambda delete there's a lambda delete in the table, in photos, DB, and the lambda DB on the lambda delete object is the same. Yes? Any question? With the permission connect in the IAM for the user, connect gives permission to everything. Delete the row, insert the row, so that you don't need more permission for the IAM. And for the user in the database, because we said grant all permission to the database, again, you don't need to modify that. So the only thing you need to modify is the front end and the APIs. And the lambda for the insert in the database is exactly as the lambda for the get, except that the SQL statement is different, and except that the output, it may be different. You are not returning a decimal rate, you are returning just true or false. Question? Any question? Anything that you don't that you disagree, which you can perfectly well disagree? Agree? Oh, you have a question. So one thing that you may find, so now things are getting a bit more complicated in the sense that there are different services that can go right or wrong. So we have, of course, CloudWatch to log things. So get used to adding calls to the logger. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to debug. But second, things can be okay, but actually there's an error in the service. The service is not working. The whatever. Then keep in mind that the way we have done things, every lambda return, every lambda go with HTTP request. Which means you yourself can return as a response, when let's say that there's an exception that you have to catch. How do you tell the client which there has been an exception and then maybe something else needs to be done with the error code? You have full control of the message that is sent back to the client. So in more complicated cases, you may want, you just not say 200 or 500. You may say 505. When you know it's an error that you want to catch, and you want the client or the other lambda react in a certain way. So keep that in mind. It may be useful. Okay. Any question? Okay. No question? You go. Is it working? That's what I'm telling you. So you're not executing this. That's okay.
Ông mới suy nghĩ được luôn.
Ôi, Nguyên, Nguyên. Nguyên.
Nguyên khó.
Khó hả? Khó hơn hả? Dài không? Đời dài không?
Dài.
Ngắn. Có trắc nghiệm không?
Qua sao?
Em phải lên hỏi chị Trang.
Trang nói sao?
Chưa lịch bữa nay mới hỏi.
Nếu mà vậy thì phải học, ý là thi phải học lại.
Đúng rồi. Để em xem thử. Tại trước sau cũng vậy mà. Cái gì sai đúng
Có nghĩa là cái file name định kỳ luôn không cái file sửa để cho nó hoàn toàn là sửa file name định kỳ đúng mà nó đúng hơn là hash cái file name định kỳ. Cái name cái tên của mình tại vì mình tên gốc mà
là mày cũng lưu luôn, mày phải lưu tên gốc
mày ủa nếu vậy lưu với tên gốc được rồi
đó là lưu một bộ
lưu mẹ tên đi nhưng mà nếu mà như vậy thì nó bị display cái UI nữa lại
Làm
ý là đang hỏi là mày hash làm gì ý là mày lưu
hash lên kiểu để handle cái exception mà cái tên quá dài lưu có database không được.
đóng 5 năm rồi.
cái đó gì nhầm tử là
Bọn nó là chủ là chỉnh cái frontend khác đây không được upload nào cho database phải đợi nó phải chuyển được S3
Cái này hash để cho cái đến HTTP bây giờ
coi đây cũng đang hỏi cái mang cái
cuối cùng là do là cái độ dài nó bị dài quá nữa là mày đưa
thầy cũng nói rõ cái hash này nó hash dài bao nhiêu có cái hash dài luôn
Ủa anh mời để năm thôi. Mời để năm thôi. Mời để năm lập sao? Mời để năm có lập. Mời để năm đâu lập tới mức đó.
This guy, right, has to do on your loop has to do two things: create a row in the photos table, right? Yes, and upload the image in S3. Yes, agree? And this is lambda upload. Agree? And this is new. Right. Now this guy needs the key, right? Because this guy is gonna say this image in with this key in S3, right? Right. Until now, the key was exactly the name of the file. Right. But now if we go to this idea, the key is the hash. The hash of the name of the file. Yes? Right. Now, because of the mathematics of the hash, for every input is always the same output. Okay? The beauty of the hash is that given the output, you cannot get the input. That's the beauty of the hash. Right. So if that is the case, I can do two things. I can create a row in the photo. So this guy, this code, this lambda, take the file name, that's the input, hash it, right? And just create the row with that. Now this guy needs to know that hash. So either this lambda, which create the row, you need anything? Okay. This lambda that create the row, return the key, and this guy wait until that to get the key that need to use to upload the image, or based on the mathematics of the hash, the same code that you use here, you use here. It's a mathematical operation. So then you keep passing to this guy the file name. So this guy doesn't need to wait. You can do it in parallel because the key is going to be the same. Make sense? What are the two? What are the two? Or, yeah, I think that's makes sense or not?
So that's I mean that's the lambda for create a new row had to hash and then
need to hash because in the table, right? The table there is something called S3 key, right? And this string is supposed to be the string that identify the image in the S3, right? So either you put here the file name and you keep doing the same thing, the file name in the S3, that could work. Or you hash it. And because the hash is the same, or you hash, wait until it finishes hashing and pass it. Or you have a lambda that first hash it and then invoke the two lambda, passing the hash. Whatever, there are 200 ways. Maybe this one, a lambda. So this guy called a lambda, this guy passed to a lambda the file name and the bytes. Okay? So that before was the get the upload object. Now that lambda, suppose that you make a copy. And now remove and then anyway, you make a new lambda. And that lambda get the file name, hash it, get a string, that's the key. Now call lambda upload objects, invoke. It's a lambda invoking a lambda. The same thing that the lambda getting the entry point. The same lambda. Lambda invoking a lambda. invoke the lambda with the key and the bytes of the image, and then in parallel invoke another lambda to insert the key and the description into the database. That's good. So it's a lambda that wraps two lambda, and the thing that is common for both of them, it does it before, so that you are sure that it's going to be the same string. Make sense? Make sense? Yeah. What you don't want, I think it's a bad idea, is to one lambda waiting for the other. And that's not the way you program.
What happened when we fetch the description? Or
What happened? In which sense?
like
You are doing it already.
because the S3 store the key with its hash. So when we fetch this one, we have to
No?
hash it,
No? Why?
hash the finding.
No. Because now you don't look. So remember you had this, right? The way you download or fetch or whatever, right? That's what we were discussing before. You look into the database. So the original file name does not exist. It's not anywhere. It's not anywhere. It has disappeared. So you only have the key. Nobody's gonna look for the image. Nobody's gonna look for the image with the name of the file. What for? So no, you just the download. You see here you have the key. You just get that key. That is the key in the S3. Support if it exists. Because we are doing things in parallel and because we are not waiting, we are not guaranteed that the S3 will succeed. That's okay. No?
So how can we know that this description for this object?
Because you create it, right? So when you when you create in the insert, when you create the row, maybe you use insert, right? Insert SQL into. Then this is the command in SQL, the statement. You have S3K and description, and then you pass values. And here you pass the S3 key that you have generated and the description that you got. So they are linked together. That description is for that key.
But this key is hash, right?
So what?
It's not hash or hash.
You put it hash. This is the hash, of course. This is the hash. Of course, this is the hash. Of course, if not, how can you know? Right? You're right, but that's what I say. That's the reason you need the hash first, and then you pass it to both of them. So the file name disappear.
I thought that we store the file name in the S3.
No.
How about
No. That's the reason that we had the same.
how about the idea of first and then trigger the we have the trigger on the S3 that will upload it. The trigger is to upload the data into the database.
You can do that, okay? But again, the important thing is the database, not S3. And about the triggering things, let's wait next time when we discuss about the workflow, because the triggering thing is a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky. Don't get things complicated when it's not complicated. The triggers are useful.
Because we have to wait, for example, if the S3 is not successfully complete, so we have to delete it. But with the trigger, I think that we don't need to do the delete again with the database.
The trigger only use the trigger when you know that in every single case, in every single application, that's what you want, which is not the case. The trigger is fixed. You put it there forever until you kick it out. So suppose that you have another application that using the same S3, but with no relationship with this one. It's a total mess. It's a total mess. So the trigger is hard-coded. It's hard-coded into the thing. Think twice. It's interesting to know that exists, but I'm not so sure. I think that's the reason AWS developed the workflow that we will see hopefully next or the following week, which is much more flexible.
Parallel có nghĩa là hash thì mình tính là hash là cái file name đó.
This is upload.
Mình lấy cái file name để mình upload file.
Yeah.
Không kêu là upload là cái hash.
I mean, this can be discussed. Okay, we are discussing. This is not. I'm not. This.
I mean, this is on the premise that we do not care about the file name.
This is under the assumption. This is. You can use the file name. It feels to me weird. I mean, to use the file name because the file name is totally irrelevant. It's irrelevant. You know, you change you put this into the S3 database and then suddenly you change the name of the file name in your makes no sense. Moreover, the file names are dangerous. File names contain characters depending on the operating system. It's different Apple, that Microsoft, that Linux, as you know very well. So file names, by definition, are not reliable. So you either want to encode the file name into a string that do not contain any dangerous, you don't even know, I mean, I don't remember exactly what are the limitation of the names of the S3 objects. I think it's a UTF-8 character because essentially they use that as a URL. So it cannot be more than that. So there is some funny base 64 encoding in what they do. So to avoid problems, I just go and encode it. Now, if you encode it, you don't control the size. But if you hash it, you control the size. So it seems like a yes. Now, if you want to say that, it's kind of extra. Okay, you can start with the file name if it works. And I think the idea, because to make sure, although the hash provide that, but to make sure that it's the same guy, and we don't have two duplicated function hash in two different classes, just do this. You have one that invoke the other two. Once the hash has been obtained. So then you know for sure that there's only one hash function with this. So say the word. I think it's a simple but sufficiently interesting exercise.
Tên Long nãy hỏi câu kỳ vậy sao?
And then, since we are doing things in parallel, right? Or asynchronous, none of your code should assume that the key exists in the S3. Which basically means if you look at if you remember the code that I put for get object, what it did was first go over the bucket and check that the object exists. And if not, it throw a message that say the object does not exist. That's to be safe, because I'm not assuming that the key exists. Not yet. We have to be doing something very
Không,